Hello and welcome to the Artemis Unleashed podcast, where we talk about all things racing, esports, sim racing, and car content in general. My name is T-Bone, and I am your host, here with Shark and Brian.
I just hit my mic.
You big dum-dum.
Damn it. And that's how, okay, and that's how we're going to start the podcast,
That's how we started.
bro.
That's how we started.
Okay,
yeah.
whatever.
In the same spot, because it's on an arm.
Yeah, but I did something called boom.
That was a silly goose move. Anyway, Shark, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi.
Oh, so we're getting close to our microphones now. I kind of like it.
Did you give him a trigger warning on that one?
Go on and
Okay,
get Shark.
buddy.
You're wasting daylight.
Hi, my name is One Shark, also known as Mark. I am the CEO and owner of Artemis Esports, former creator because I've lost touch. And I'm the one behind the scenes running the show for everything that is Artemis Esports. So if you see something happen, probably something including with me. So helping orchestrate a new move in the esports world.
Mr. B-Roy.
Hi, my name is Brian, aka B-Roy. I'm the chief media officer and co-owner of Artemis Esports. Kind of like to think of myself as the promotional aspect of Artemis Esports. I help run most of the day-to-day stuff along with Travis, who we'll probably meet later in the podcast saga. But I've been a huge motorsports guy my entire life. I've been that way since I was the age of 5, rooting for Jeff Gordon in NASCAR all the way up until now, where I just enjoy racing. I've got a Twitch channel with over 1.4K followers that I focus on sim racing with, and yeah, I'm happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Like I said earlier, my name is Funky T-Bone. I also go by Taylor, but don't call me that because that's my street name. I'm a F1 content creator, and I'm the host of this podcast, which I've never hosted a podcast before, and I generally don't really filter what I say, so this should be a fun experience for all of us.
Thank God there's a bleeping effect in editing. I love the pen point. I love the pen point. He's like, yes, do it.
Who said we had to use a bleeps?
My new favorite thing to do is I like to make religious jokes, but bear with me. Hold on. I like to make religious jokes, but I don't want to target any specific audience. So if someone like accomplishes something or we finally get something, I'll go praise be to Awa, and Awa is the fucking planet god from Avatar.
Yes.
Not a single person knows what I'm talking about. They all just think I'm just on some cult or something. Not a single person knows what I'm talking about. So I'll send like gifs of Avatar, and I don't think it's connecting, but I find it hilarious.
I would have thought you were on
Oh,
crack.
it's fucking beautiful.
I would have thought you were on crack because I don't know shit about Avatar.
Well, that's
Bro,
your first mistake.
the second movie is beautiful.
Awa has heard you. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to ask. It's been a long time. So I want to know how everybody got their username. Funky T-Bone, I'll go first. My name has always been T-Bone. It was T-Bone5797. That's just what I made when I started my very first PlayStation account on the PS3. 5797, my birthday, May 7th, 1997, in case anyone wants to get me something. And T-Bone was the two initials of my first name. Or excuse me, the first initials of my first and last name. But when I started taking content creation more seriously, I didn't want the numbers anymore. And so I just beat my head against the Twitch rename wall until I found something that wasn't taken. And it was Funky T-Bone. And it works out because I do keep it funky. Shark?
Yeah, so I'm a big San Jose Sharks fan. As you can see, it's evident there's a Sharks jersey, and I'm wearing a Sharks hat. I am a big fan of the Sharks, and their mascot is Sharky. And so for the longest time, my username was Sharky1228, which was my birthday. So lame. So when I went to go to play ESEA, which is a competitive Counter-Strike platform, Sharky was already taken. So it recommended me one Shark, and I was like, yeah, I kind of fucking like it. And I just stuck with it. And it's just been a part of my brand ever since. Haven't really thought to look back.
B-Roy?
Yeah, I went by my first ever Xbox username was Mr. Xbox Shooter 54. Don't ask questions. And I wanted to rock with that for a while, and then I realized that doesn't really fit who I am as a person. So I've never been good at usernames at all. I went through about maybe 30 different usernames that tried to center around my name. I went as Bryman241, Bryman Plays. Some of the OGs that knew me know who that side was. And then my cousin started calling me B-Roy after one of his friends. It's not completely related to me or him at all. And he just called me B-Roy. And I was like, you know what? I really like that name. And so it just kind of stuck with me. And that's what B-Roy is today. It's just a play on my name, I guess.
I couldn't listen to any part of that story while Shark was deep throating that fucking vitamin water.
I'm making sure that makes the final cut. I'm making sure.
I want you to see how ridiculous you look drinking out of that thing.
Oh, he's going to. He's going to. Trust me.
I'm gonna be able to see that.
He's not gonna unlive it. He's
I bet
not
you
gonna
could fucking
unlive it.
golf ball through a garden hose.
Oh my god. Good lord.
So there's been a lot of speculation recently about Checo's F1 seat. He's just really not performing next to Max Verstappen, which, to be fair, I don't know anyone that can perform next to Max Verstappen. That's probably why so many people have been eaten up and spit out by the Red Bull machine. But let's play where Checo does not deserve the Red Bull seat. Who do you think should take it? I'm going to go to Mark first.
You know, I think it's funny because even though, like, just to start, I think that Red Bull seat is absolutely cursed. The amount of people that have had their careers almost taken away because of that Red Bull seat, I'm surprised Checo is still fighting. I think I would love to see Danny Rick come back. I doubt that they're ever going to do that because it just looks really crappy, I think, on Red Bull's image, knowing that they let him go and then he just like, yeah, welcome back. Here's your treat. I really hope that Yuki gets a spot. He's really, I feel like, overdriving that AlphaTauri beautifully compared to Nick DeVries, who's absolutely soiled that car. I mean, like, that's like Mazepin level almost, like Latifi. Go Tifi. So I think Yuki Tsunoda deserves maybe at least a few trial runs, some practice session. I don't know, just to see like what they think of his lap times compared to some of the other drivers that get to test the car, and just compare at least.
Super quick before I get to B-Roy's answer. My favorite F1 fact in the world is that Mazepin in his first 2 races drove for less time than Romain was on fire. It's a true. You can look that up. That's a true fact.
Oh, that is too good.
Mr. By the way, this is how I pronounce it in my head. Broy.
Sorry, I'm still getting used to what that freaking fact just said.
I swear to God, it's a true statement because he wrecked out of Bahrain on like turn 3, and then I don't remember what track was next, but he didn't make it through turn 1 there, and it literally like Romain Grosjean was legitimately on fire for longer because it was like 3.5 minutes. He was on fire for longer than the first 2 races of Mazepin's career.
You know, that's not a good look.
No, it's really not.
Someone fact check that before you post it.
So, first of all, I'm just gonna say this is a joke, Lance Stroll. I'm kidding. But no, I think hypothetically, if we were to say that Checo never got to Red Bull, Checo's career would be over. Like, there was no seat lined up on the grid besides a Red Bull seat when Alex Albon left for Sergio. So he would have either been on the sidelines or he would have been completely done in the sport. So I think, first of all, that was a perfectly good move by Red Bull. I think in terms of like who should replace him, I would say Alex Albon, because I don't think, like, obviously you said before that, you know, the second seat has been chewed up and spit out. Danny Rick left for his own ventures in 2017, or 2018, sorry. Pierre Gasly had his shot halfway through the season, and then Alex Albon had his seat for a season and a half. And I think if you were to give him just a little more time to get adjusted to that seat, like what they have done with Sergio, I think that Alex could have still been in that seat and, you know, probably up there and competing with him. But I think, honestly, even if it was a hypothetical or not, I think Sergio still should have that seat. I think personally that's just the best move overall, was to bring Sergio into a competitive team.
Here's my take on this is that, you know, you look at a surprising fact to me is that Valtteri only had 10 wins in his entire career, and he was in that dominant Mercedes for what, 5 years?
About 5 years, yeah. No, 4 years. 4 years.
And, you know, that car was winning pretty much every race despite some weird challenges until about 2020, 2021. And the difference is that he was not holding a candle to Lewis, but he was coming second to Lewis every single time. And I think this season has shown that there is something inside Checo that is just not ready for the pressure that he's under right now. And he's not even finishing second. He's finishing pretty far down the grid. I think I like the Alex Albon idea. I think Yuki still needs to be baked a little bit. He's not quite ready. He is very much outperforming that AlphaTauri, but I think he needs some time to cook, to mature. And Albon has had that. And Albon is impressing everybody every weekend. As much as I adore Daniel Ricciardo, I don't think he's ready to come back, and I don't know if he'll ever be ready to come back. It seems like no one's really ever had a successful comeback career in F1. But I don't know the sport well enough to say that.
Now, when we're nailing those apexes on the track, the last thing we want to worry about is our online safety. That's where NordVPN comes in. They're like our own personal pit crew for internet security, always ensuring our online tracks are as secure as they can be. With lightning-fast servers and top-tier encryption, we can focus on our racing line while NordVPN takes care of us online. And guess what? One NordVPN account protects up to 6 devices. That's like covering your entire team with one fell swoop. So cruise on over to ArtemisEsports.com/partners and you'll get an epic 66% off a 2-year plan. Remember, in the race for online security, NordVPN laps the competition.
So switching gears a little bit, Shark, what made you decide to start an esports team? Because I know that a lot of people probably don't see all the work you've put in. I can see it. You've already got affiliate agreements and sponsorships and a ton of people on the team. We're making content. There's a crazy Discord. What made you want to do that, and what message are you trying to share?
Yeah, give us the lore, Mark.
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was, at first, I wanted to have a platform for myself when I first started to be able to compete under. For a while, I really was competing in CS. And so to be able to create a community and group that I could compete with that was mine when I was competing, I quickly found out that I'm not that good. And that there's plenty of people that are better than me. And so I started shifting gears in terms of having that for me and started having that for others and wanted to build other people up. It's been going up and down, but this feels like another wave that I've turned. I feel like this is the most legitimate that I've taken it. This is the most real I've taken it. This is the next like 3-4 steps that I've actually started planning ahead instead of just being very reactionary. I have, really solid people that we're getting to work with, not only in Brian and Scripture, but I think a lot of our members too that we get to share these experiences with. I mean, I think too, just this last weekend winning Watkins Glen, just like is such a big achievement for us, and being able to say that that's something that we've done, and that especially for Brian in particular, to say that the brand that he owns and represents, being able to take that home is just another level of just like camaraderie that we get to share amongst all of us.
That's a good point. So we should just mention to the folks that are just listening to this, the team did compete in the 24 Hours of Watkins Glen. Excuse me. Pardon me. The 6 hours of Watkins Glen in iRacing. We fielded several different teams. Brian got the win in one of the splits, and we did well overall. And I think there's a lot of big plans coming as far as branching out, not just iRacing, F1, other games, and even not racing items. Can you tell us a little bit about your plans there?
Yeah, so our next big step obviously is to try to excel as best as we can into iRacing and F1. So that means trying to challenge for top 5 splits in those special events. Maybe that also entails some of the majors events, right? Like doing the majors, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, being able to compete in something like that. I think the next step obviously is going to be would definitely be moving to another game, a game that we feel like it respects the values of who Artemis is and what we want to continue those next steps to be. Right now, it looks to be an FPS game, and we'll disclose more once we have more information readily available. But that's kind of the next piece that we're looking at right now.
Wonderful. And just super quick, can you explain to people, including me, because I don't play iRacing, what top 5 split means?
Yeah. So when you do iRacing, if you have more than the maximum grid available, the game will automatically split you up into what's called splits. So in this case, the split that Brian competed in was, I think, the 14th of 18, which
Damn.
is, it's low. But it doesn't discredit the fact that it's a win, because not many
Don't
people can
patronize
say
me,
that
damn it.
they can finish 6 hours of racing at full space.
Man,
it was 14 out of 18. I didn't
Hey
know there were
man,
18.
hey, it's a freaking win, okay? I don't want to hear it.
It's better
okay,
than I
it's an
coulda done.
accomplishment.
Yeah, so our next goals are to be able to push that number higher, and to be able to compete with names that maybe are already known, and to push ourselves into those spheres. But yeah, we're trying to push ourselves up into higher splits to just have that more credibility to our racing acumen.
I think we should sign Max Verstappen. Thoughts?
I
from
think
you?
that's doable.
There we go. So I'm gonna switch gears again a little bit. That's my favorite phrase, is switching gears. No pun intended. Let's ask a fun question. What is everyone's first car? I'll start. I had a drug dealer mobile. I had a 2000 Cadillac Seville SLS. It had a MagnaFlow exhaust system. It had Brembo brakes. It was lowered. Neither back window worked. The subwoofer was under the back seat. It did have a 12-inch subwoofer that sort of worked. The car was amazing, but it was garbage.
Sorry, drug mobile?
Yeah, that's where I got
What?
cut off.
There was a brick of cocaine behind one of the door panels. I guarantee you. That came.
Hey, yo, whoa!
Guaranteed. It was one. I swear to God, one of the door panels was glued on, and I could never get it off because I was trying to fix the windows, and I was like, "There's something behind there. I'm not going near the drug dealers."
Oh no, bro!
I'm a big believer that everybody's first car should be shit. I do believe that. I think if you have a nice first car, your parents did you a disservice.
Okay, well then, Funky, you won't like me.
I was literally going to say Stark had a fucking yuppie mobile, yeah, Audi or something.
Yeah, I've got my I got my mom's 2016 Acura RDX. It's beautiful. The ironic thing is, the minute I got it, like a year after, I was already like, yeah, I want to get another car.
2016. How old were you in 2016?
Well, no, I didn't get it 2016. I got a couple years ago, but 2016, I would have been 14 years old.
How old? When did you get it?
I got it when I was 17.
You got a car that was 3 years old for your first car? Fucking yuppie.
It's unbelievable, bro.
Yuppie.
Unbelievable.
No, your
I'll
first
tell you what,
car should be like at least 10 years older than you. For sure.
And the ironic thing is, the story was, we were gonna go and grab, I think, like a 2012 or 2010 Jeep Cherokee. Just like
he was
something.
prominent with a 2010 Jeep Cherokee.
But my mom decided to get herself another car, and so I got that car.
Some rich people shit.
I know,
Brian?
right? Mine was 8 years older than me. I got my first car the minute I turned 16, which was, oh my god, I think it was 2017. God, I feel old. But it was a 2011 Mitsubishi Lancer, and had 180,000 miles on it. It was for work. The guy that used it before had it for work, but it was a nice little car. Had paint scratches. I absolutely loved it, and to be able to say you owned a Lancer, any kind of Lancer, it just kind of put your street cred up a little bit, in my opinion. I absolutely loved that thing. It ripped around. I won't say it wasn't a piece of shit, because it was kind of a piece of shit. Had some rubber seal that actually, I remember the first time I actually had a major issue with my car. I almost crashed into somebody because my brakes failed on me. And we found out the brake pedal just went stiff, like almost like what what you would use for like a load cell pedal on like a Fanatec or anything like that. And it just felt super stiff to press. You couldn't press it in all the way to get the car stopped. I had to put it in the handbrake for a while, and then we took it to a shop. They wanted $3,000 to fix it. They wanted to replace the entire braking system, and then all we found out was that there was a rubber seal that completely broke off and prevented me from using my brakes. And 6 months later, I crashed into some chick going to Jersey Mike's.
That took a turn.
Can we circle back to, you turned 16 in what year?
2017.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. I say I feel old, but I feel old just for the experiences that I have under my belt. Like, I don't like everybody when I say I feel old at 21. The F1 community is at a younger age. They're like like they can range from like 14 all the way up to like 35, 40-ish. And it's just like, you know, when I say like I feel old, I legitimately feel old compared to the people that watch my stuff, because people that are like 14 or 15 were born around 2010 when I was still a kid. And it just feels crazy to me that we're in a generation now where it's like, you know, I can kind of call myself old. I almost said
Motherfucker,
elder.
I was halfway through college when you turned 16.
Really?
Yeah, I was born in 97, which is I usually tell that to people that I work with, and they're like, God damn, you're young. Here, different scenario.
Yeah.
I was 02.
I was an 02 kid
Good.
too. I was an early 02
Yeah.
kid. Hey, I was an early 02 kid, okay? I have leeway. I'm older than
I
this
just want
guy.
to speak directly to the listeners for a second. Not that that's not what we've been doing this whole time, but y'all are listening to folks that were born after 2000. I want you to know that. I don't fucking, we ain't gonna put up with this for the next guest. Next guests are gonna be
Sure, buddy. Let's go with that.
Next test is gonna pretty much be your dad.
I love a funky interview with his dad on stream.
Listen, you don't want the smoke, okay? You don't want the smoke. He just would lecture everybody about taxes. Shit.
Oh, that's too good.
Now, see, you want to fill here on your W-4 tax return.
I swear to God, this is not a joke. The first time I did my taxes I started working when I was 15, and I did my taxes that year. And he sat me down in front of TurboTax and he said, "Click buttons till you don't owe money." Like, I'm pretty sure that's tax fraud. And he goes, "Works for me."
What a way to do it.
He has his 8-pound Bichon dog registered as a hunting dog for his business. He doesn't have a business or hunt anything.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's going to
Hey,
jail for this.
if the IRS doesn't ask questions, don't.
Just
Don't
don't
care.
answer.
Just do it.
So, moving away from the lovely topic of taxes,
Because we all love that.
well, you know, it is what it is. Let me ask the group something. So, I think everybody here is involved in racing in some way. I always like hearing how people got involved in racing because at least back in my day, you fucking fucks.
No. You
It was
can't
not-
say that. You're only 5 years older than me, man. You can't do that.
Listen, I've done stuff you'd never even dream of. So back in my
He
day,
graduated high school when I was in the middle of middle school.
that's hurtful. This hurts me. What was I going to ask? Oh, yeah. At least F1 specifically. Like, no one in America was into F1 when I was in, like, high school area. Like, it started to pick up a little bit after that. But, you know, some people were in NASCAR, but that was definitely, like, you were a fucking hick if you were in NASCAR. Which I'm from Georgia, so is what it is. But how did you guys get into racing, just in general?
So I first got into racing through my dad. I'm from Florida, so hell yeah, feller. Don't nah. You can't do that to me. You're a state above me, man. You can't do that to me. Don't you dare do the little cross
I am
thing.
a state above you.
Oh, whatever, buddy. Whatever. I'm experienced a hurricane, but whatever. But no, I grew up watching NASCAR and growing up a Jeff Gordon fan, and when I first found out about F1 in 2010, I think it was the last race of the season at Abu Dhabi. And that's when for all you that don't know, Speed used to be a channel where it was just like a racing hub network, kind of like what Mav TV is for dirt. The Speed network is what I used to watch religiously for sports. And that's where I originally found F1 because they showed practice on it. And so I used to watch practice in 2010, 2011, and I just kind of stopped. I couldn't tell you why. I think I just got other interests, like playing Counter-Strike or whatever at a young age. And then I kind of picked it back up again in 2018. Still, you know, being a NASCAR diehard fan, I was like, you know what? NASCAR is kind of boring. Let me see what else is on. And F1 was on. And I always used to watch the race at Canada almost every year. So I kind of knew that they were still, you know, around. And just the more I watched, the more I fell in love with it. I fell into love with IndyCar soon after. I used to watch Indy 500 growing up, like all the big events I used to watch. And then just, as time moved on, I kind of grew and appreciated motorsports more. And I've always wanted to be a driver my entire life, and I don't have the money to do it. So I do sim racing, and that's where I can, spend money on stuff like this. And it's genuinely been a rewarding, experience to have a platform where I can talk about motorsports and F1, and just find people that share the same passion as me. And that's how I found my way into it. What about you, Mark?
I think for me, I never really was like into motorsports for a long time. I was big into like just other sports like hockey, big hockey guy. I'm a big San Jose Sharks guy. Even evident by the hat.
Is that what that comes from?
Yeah. So my name actually used to be Sharky, because after the mascot for the San Jose Sharks. And when I was playing competitive CS and I went to a platform called ESCA, the name was already taken. So it pretty much recommended me to do one shark, and I've just stuck with it. I was just like, I like it. Let's do it. But yes, that is where the name came from. But I think I had little bits and pieces of F1. I played the F1 game before, growing up once or twice, but I wasn't really like heavily invested into it. And then Drive to Survive hit, and I've just fell in love with it to the point where actually I know a lot about it, not just the Drive to Survive about it.
No, this guy got into it because of Drive to Survive. Ooh.
I was actually just about to say, so every video that I post, if I talk about Drive to Survive, and that's why I honestly post a lot of them, because all the comments are filled with like, ew, Drive to Survive fan, ew, you're not a real fan. And I just want to say those people need to get out more, because if you love something and something else brings more people to it that you can talk about it with, you can share memories with, you can find a community to discuss, that is a great thing for everybody. And so I know that Brian was just joking. I'm not trying to throw shade at Brian, but there are a lot of people that are legitimately out there that are like, you only got into Drive. I've been watching you since 20. Fuck you. Switching gears to answer my own question. I watched the movie. So my parents, we used to see a lot of movies. I say used to. I just don't live near my parents anymore, so they probably still see movies, and I still see movies. But we, as a unit, used to see a lot of movies when I lived with them. And we went and saw the movie Rush when it came out in theaters. The true story of Niki Lauda and James Hunt. And we saw it in like a nice IMAX theater with like a phenomenal sound system. And I just fucking, as soon as they started the cars in the opening scene, I fell in love. And I got home and I had to figure out how to watch it. So that happened to be the 2014, like the break before the 2014 season. So I started watching F1 in 2014 when Mercedes started their dominance, which, to circle back something Shark said earlier, I hate dominance of all types. I can't stand I can't stand when Lewis was dominant. I can't stand now that Max is dominant. I just want racing in the sport. Anyway, so I started watching then, and we actually lived right near Circuit Americas. We lived about an hour away. So now, if you wanted a 3-day pass to Circuit Americas, you have to pay like $500, I think is what a 3-day pass is. Yep. Back then, in like the 15, 16 time frame, you could pay $185 for a season pass to Circuit Americas. And it had 3-day passes to F1, World Endurance Championship, MotoGP, Vintage Racing, and the Pirelli World Challenge, which is touring car racing. $185 for 3-day passes to all 5 events. And so that was my gift every year. Like for Christmas, was my parents would buy me 2 of those season passes, and you could take whoever you wanted, and you could go all 3 days. It was general admission, so you didn't get like a seat. Well, you would get a seat for the less important races, like Pirelli World Challenge. And it was super cool. Like I had a Pirelli tire for a while that I just took from the Pirelli tent. I went up to some guy and he was working on the tires, and I was like, "Can I have one?" And he was like, "What?" He's like, "It's a used tire." And I was like, "Exactly." And then he went in and talked to somebody, and he came out and he goes, "Just don't let anyone see you take one." And I literally grabbed it and like walked around with it. And I had it for a while.
That's respect.
How did no one see you take a tire?
Yeah, hey, listen. Life lesson, kids, because y'all are all younger than me, apparently. Ain't nothing gonna happen unless you ask.
Amen to that. And also, I feel robbed now for all of this stuff now for fucking just F1 race being $500 for 3 days, $185 for a season pass.
And then you look at those Vegas tickets right now, and they're
God,
like,
don't even get me started with that.
So
Don't get me started with
He's
it.
an angry elf.
Sorry,
I need to
what?
work out more because holding the push to talk button has made my forearm sore.
Oh.
that's the true gamer fashion amongst all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that takes us through most of our content for the podcast. I want to thank everybody for listening, for being here. We will also put this entire thing up on YouTube, and you'll see clips wherever you want to find clips. So, Shark, please let the viewers know where to find Artemis content and where to find your content.
So my content is One Shark. Oh God, I think it's on YouTube. One Shark CS on Twitch and One Shark CS Go on Twitter.
We'll put it in
and
the
then,
show notes. I don't know what show notes we'll have because I don't entirely know what this is going to look like. We're going to put it in the show notes.
Yeah, and then for the Artemis Esports information, which is more important, it's Esports Artemis on literally every platform. That's the easiest way to find us. Just Esports Artemis across the board.
I enjoy that we kept that simple because just like you couldn't remember your own fucking names on all your different platforms, this way everybody knows. B-Roy, how would everybody find your content?
If you guys want to find anything Artemis, artemisesports.com for all of our player lists and everything. And if you want to go cop some merch, shop.artemisesports.com. You can find me on Twitch, B_Roy with 4 Ys, and on Twitter and Instagram with Dats B-Roy, DATSBROY. So, hopefully we get to see you in the streams. Hopefully you'll rock it and have some fun with me. And, can't wait to see where Artemis goes. I'm very excited for this project. I'm excited to share it with you, Funky, with you, Mark. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yep, and I will not beat the Esports Artemis horse to death. You guys know where to find that. I'll be your host on this podcast every 2 weeks. We'll have new guests every time and branch out. Let us know in the comments what you want to hear about. We didn't really have much lined out as far as what to talk about. So let us know what you guys want to hear about. Ask us any questions in the comments. And you can find me at Funky T-Bone on Twitch and YouTube and Funky T-Bone TV on Instagram. There's a Twitter somewhere, but I don't use it, so don't follow me there.
Oh, man.
Oh, there you go,
Okay.
boys,
Anything
gentlemen.
else? Any other housekeeping items we want to do? Any kind of announcements or anything like that?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's it for now.
Alrighty. Ending the...
We did it, gentlemen.
Thank God.
We did it.
That was fun. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm glad I could host.
Yeah, I think we all learned a good amount.
Yeah, no kidding. I learned that I don't